Washington, D.C. in the summertime. The D-backs in the nation's capital will face another first-place team. It's the Washington Nationals. We're at Nats Park on a gorgeous summer evening along the Potomac. We've left the oppressive Houston humidity behind. A nice night here. It's onward and upward, way up here in our booth. For the Diamondbacks and the Nationals, it's the D-backs in D.C. on Fox Sports Arizona. And good afternoon from Nationals Park. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. The Diamondbacks and the Nats, the first of a four-game series. And that means it's a head-to-head matchup of two National League Triple Crown candidates. They are two of baseball's biggest stars. And the leading two candidates, Bob, for the MVP award in the National League, it's Goldie and Bryce Harper.
Yeah, no question. Both these guys are used to the pressure of carrying their team for long stretches of the season. But I think when you match up two superstar caliber players like Goldie and Bryce Harper, it brings something out of both of them. They want to show that they're the better of the two MVP contenders, and I'm really looking forward to this series and these two guys and what they do at the plate.
If you go on top of virtually every National League statistic, they are 1 and 2 with the exception of Arenado and the RBIs. Harper, of course, having the best season of his career.
No question about it, and the rest of the Nationals not having such a good year. So once again, he's used to the pressure of carrying his team. It's nothing unusual for Bryce Harper, just like it's not unusual for Paul Goldschmidt, but will be fun to watch him head-to-head here in this series.
Doug Fister will start for Washington, and Zach Godley, the rookie, his third Major League start for Arizona. The MVP showdown in D.C. is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Final leg of this three-city, 10-game road trip tonight, the first of four, against a Nationals team that begins this series in a virtual tie with the Mets atop the National League East. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for Washington, 31-year-old right-hander Doug Fister, a big guy out there, 6 feet 8 inches tall. He has battled injury problems this year and has really not been the same guy who was a 16-game winner in Washington last season. Let's get a scouting report from the Diamondbacks.
And there's no doubt that he relies on location and movement. I mean, he had the good fastball years ago, mid-90s, and now his fastball is in the mid-high 80s. So doesn't mean you can't pitch here with that stuff. We've seen that plenty of times this year. But, he relies on his location. He's got good movement, sinkers, and to the righties in, and using his location. So when a guy like that has his location, it's always tough.
Doug Fister, a 2.41 ERA in 16 wins last season. You see very different numbers here. He's had a forearm problem, but he did win his previous start. He beat the Marlins in Miami last Wednesday.
Yeah, spent a month on the disabled list with that strained right forearm, and because of that, that sinker ball that's been so effective for him throughout his career has flattened out a little bit at times. We'll keep an eye on that tonight.
Brian Gorman, the crew chief, is our plate umpire. We are underway as Ender Inciarte steps in on a beautiful summer evening here in Washington, D.C. Ender slaps that one foul down the left field line, and he's quickly down 0-2. Inciarte, 290 and 3 home runs. Did you fasten your seatbelt over there?
Man.
Called strike 3.
I decided to just strap on a parachute just in case.
We are way up here atop the media facilities at Nationals Park. The lineup for Chip Hale's D-backs tonight against Doug Fister.
Yeah, Doug Fister made quick work of Ender Inciarte. He'll be out in right field. A.J. Pollock back in the lineup at center field. Paul Goldschmidt at first. David Peralta in left field. Wellington Castillo doing the catching. Jake Lamb at third.
A.J. Pollock hits it to Ian Desmond, the shortstop. Quickly 2 down.
Where was I? Jake Lamb at third, Aaron Hill at second, Nick Ahmed at short, and Zach Godley, the pitcher, on the mound.
4 pitches and 2 outs for Fister, and here's Goldie. Paul Goldschmidt leading the National League in hitting at .342. Ahead of Bryce Harper, he leads the league in hits. There's a strike, 0-1. Goldie had a pair of hits in his Houston homecoming on Friday, but a tough weekend against the Astros. 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts in the losses Saturday and Sunday. 2 balls and a strike. Doug Fister working very quickly out there. Two and 2.
He got a very abbreviated windup. Puts his hands up above the bill of his cap and very quickly strides right into his delivery. Might take a pitch or 2 in your first at bat of the game to get used to that quick delivery.
This is there, and it's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. David Peralta would be next. A 2-hopper right to Desmond. A 1-2-3 first for Doug Fister, just underway in Washington, D.C. on Fox Sports Arizona. 2-0, wins over the Brewers and Mariners. He's your Arizona Ford starting pitcher. It's 25-year-old rookie right-hander Zack Godley, 6 scoreless in his big league debut against Milwaukee at Chase Field. 3 runs, 7 hits in 6 innings last Tuesday in Seattle, where he also walked 3, gave up a couple of 450-foot home runs. The command not quite as sharp second time out, but Bob, the overall results very encouraging so far for the rookie right-hander.
No question about it. The stuff very encouraging when he keeps that ball down in the zone and around the strike zone. Very, very effective. As you mentioned, his start in Seattle, he missed a spot a few times and they made him pay, but all in all, a real solid outing for the youngster.
Yunel Escobar, the third baseman, leads it off for the Nationals. And he lifts the first pitch in the air deep to right center field. Ender Inciarte runs it down in front of the warning track for a quick out number 1. The lineup for Matt Williams and his Washington Nationals.
Yunel Escobar at third base leading off. Anthony Rendon making his way to the plate. He'll be at second base. Bryce Harper out in right field with veteran Ryan Zimmerman at first base. Clint Robinson out in left field. Ian Desmond the shortstop. Wilson Ramos doing the catching. Michael Taylor out in center field, and Doug Fister, the right-hander, on the mound.
You talked to Matt Williams today. How's he doing?
Hey, he's doing all right. As Jody mentioned in the pregame show, they didn't get in until 3 o'clock in the morning, so the team didn't have any on-field activities before the game, but that didn't keep Matty and his coaching staff from breaking a pretty good lather this afternoon. We went in his office, and he was dripping of sweat after taking a little bit of a run, but he's doing okay. You know, starting to get all of his pieces back in place. Guys that spent a lot of time on the DL in the first half are coming back to the lineup, and he says it's just going to take him a little time. A lot of these guys right now are in spring training phase. Just have to get more at bats, more reps, and ideally they hit their stride in the month of September.
Yeah, they have gone long stretches without Ryan Zimmerman, Jason Worth, Anthony Rendon. Denard Span is still out. Fister missed a month. Strasburg still out. And here's Rendon, who's just back in town, drives that one to the warning track and left. And Peralta's got it. 2 loud fly ball outs so far for Zack Godley.
Yeah, we should point out in his ballpark, right center and straightaway center field, on warm days, the ball really seems to carry well. You wouldn't expect it. It's 402 to straightaway center field, but I've seen a lot of home runs hit up on that batter's eye behind the 402 mark.
Well, this guy will hit him a long way. Bryce Harper, 331, second in the National League behind only Paul Goldschmidt. Leads the league with those 29 home runs. And he's hit safely in 10 of his last 11 games. So on the numbers on Harper, the home runs, the RBI totals already career highs. And he leads the league in runs, home runs, slugging, and OPS. And he and Goldie right now 1 and 2, and pretty much a clear 1 and 2 in the MVP discussion as we head into the dog days of August. This is away there, a ball and a strike.
And certainly the big advantage Harper has in that category is the fact he plays on the East Coast, plays in a large market. Really the only superstar caliber player on a very average team otherwise, if you look at the statistics.
It's this out to Peralta, right to him. 3 fly ball outs, and Zack Godley sprints off the mound after an 8-pitch first inning. No score at Nationals Park. Hey fans, watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. With MLB.TV Premium, you'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, a pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply, so check MLB.TV for all the details. David Peralta in there to lead off the second, and it's a ball and a strike. Peralta 281 and 9 home runs. That's in the seats. It's 1-2. Doug Fister mentioned this is a big dude out there. He's lanky, 6'8", 210. Base hit for David. Well, he has had a really good road trip. Taylor kicks it around out there, but Peralta stops it first with a single. He is now 9 for 20 on the road trip.
Good start to the inning right there. Get the leadoff man on. Make something happen with Beef making his way to the plate. Whistles that one right past Fister on into center field. Good start to the ball game for David.
Fister left that one up, and that's been a problem for him with that forearm injury all year long. The sink hasn't sunk. As we go into beef mode.
Yeah, there's a big difference between a sinker with some downward movement that causes batters to hit the top half of the baseball and a fastball that just tails and stays on the same plane. And that's what will happen with Fister on occasion. We think it's because of that forearm. Just doesn't really get on top of the ball and make it sink the way he has in the past. Occasionally he gets a little around that sinker. It flattens out, stays on the same plane. Very hittable.
0-1 on Wellington Castillo with Peralta at first. Double play ball here, Rendon, Desmond, and they turn it. And that's how Doug Fister makes his living right there. In his win at Miami last week, he generated 6 ground ball outs.
Now, for his career, nearly a 50% ground ball rate. When he's got that sinker going, he can really get by with just the one pitch, but he'll also mix in a changeup, an occasional curveball. Does throw a slider from time to time, but I think with the forearm injury, it's kind of taken the slider out of the equation.
2 down for Jake Lamb. Jake at 279 and 3 home runs.
Not overpowering. You see the velocities in the mid to upper 80s. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, Fister has been a very good ground ball pitcher in his career, but an injury earlier this year has affected those ground balls, and he really does, as you can see, 64% of the time rely on that two-seam sinking fastball that comes in at, mid to upper 80s or so.
So far in this game, he's topped out at 89 in the early going. Won't go much higher than that. On a good day with a wind behind him, he might break 90, but that's not his game. Location and movement.
Well, he's a guy who has seen his ground ball rate drop to a career low 41% this year. That's about a 10% drop from last season. Fister on the DL in the middle of May, missed a month. It was a strained muscle in the forearm, and it has prevented him from really keeping the ball down in the zone. And although he did come back in the middle of June, the synergy of his physical mechanics and his decision making out there, says Matt Williams, are still a little off course after the injury. Ramos hangs on to the foul tip. Second strikeout for Fister, and we are still scoreless in Washington. with you, set for the bottom of the second inning. 3 quick fly ball outs for Zach Godley to start the first in his 3rd career big league start, and now he'll work to Ryan Zimmerman to lead off the second. It was a quick 7-pitch first inning for Godley. And there's strike 1 to Zimmerman, recently returned from the DL, hitting only .209 this year with 6 homers. That OPS down nearly 200 points from his career mark. Zimmerman 5 for 23, a home run. It's only been 6 games since he came back from the DL. He'd been out since the first week of June with a plantar fasciitis situation in his foot. And I think we all know how painful that can be.
Oh, yeah.
Finally forced him onto the DL in early June. He had sort of limped through the first half of the year. So he missed about 40 games, didn't make it back until last Tuesday. Godley bounces that when it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Zimmerman's got that bat way up there.
He's got a lot going on in his approach in that right-handed batter's box. He stands right about in the middle of the batter's box, but he likes the ball out over the plate. He has tremendous power to the opposite field, but holds that bat high above his back shoulder, has a high front leg kick, a lot of moving parts to get in the right position to hit that ball successfully.
Swings and misses at the 2-2. That's the first strikeout for Godley. 4 up, 4 down so far for Zach.
Yeah, while we have a moment, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game. We mentioned the Nats didn't get in until 3 o'clock in the morning, so shh, don't wake them up. And for Zach Godley, there was some speculation this might be his last start. Chip Hale said he might get another one after tonight, and if this is the last one, go out with a bang. He's really made an impression on this organization and the fans and the broadcasters. Go out with a bang.
Clint Robinson is the left fielder. They are without Denard Span right now, who's on the DL. Jason Worth just came back from an injury, but he is not in the starting lineup tonight. So it's Robinson in left and Taylor in center. 267 and 4 homers, and the shift is on for the Diamondbacks. He hits it the other way, but foul.
You mentioned Jason Worth. You see that sign on the backstop there. Worth Chia Pet on August 5th. Yeah, Jason Worth is a human Chia Pet.
They've had Jason Worth Garden Gnome days here before, and they are events in the nation's capital. Those things are a hot commodity, and they've gone to the Chia Pet this year to mix it up. 2-on-1 on Robinson, who since July 10th has hit 300. Former LA Dodger. Well, you mentioned the Zach Godley situation in the rotation, Bob. Here's another look at this pitch here from Zach. That thing is darting and diving and dropping.
Sinker cutter. Tell you, when he's commanding those 2 pitches, he can throw a complete game without mixing in an off-speed pitch.
Look out. Second strikeout for Godley, and somebody's got a souvenir. Hopefully everybody's okay down there. Lost his sunglasses. Two down for Ian Desmond. Desmond 216 and 11 home runs. He is slogging through a very disappointing year as he heads into free agency, and the speculation here is he's costing himself millions of dollars. His OPS is down more than 200 points from what it was during his All-Star season 3 years ago.
He's always been a very aggressive hacker, but he struck out 1 out of every 3 at bats this season. 121 strikeouts against only 22 walks. He's approaching 400 at bats on the season.
Right behind Jock Peterson and Chris Bryant, 2 rookies. Although Desmond has shown some signs of coming around at the plate very recently. He's hit over 300 his last 13 games, including 4 home runs. Zach Godley working quickly. It's 2-2.
quick late movement on that cutter at 90 miles an hour. His cutter actually, a lot of guys' cutters look like a slider from time to time, but Zach somehow manages to get some downward movement on that cutter as well.
Yes, he did. Zach Godley sprints off the mound after striking out the side in order. 1, 2, 3. He got Zimmerman, Robinson, and Desmond. No score through 2.
Quick. Yeah. Jody Jackson here at Nationals Park. Aaron Hill will lead off the inning in there once again today after the last few days at third base. In there at second. Aaron really glad to be getting a little bit more of an opportunity here. He's hit the ball well, according to Turner Ward. And the other thing that's going on right now in the infield, Chris Owings really working on his swing. Had a lot of early work. They really wanted him to be able to get after it in early work today. And so CO will likely be back in there tomorrow, guys, but they're trying to get that swing to lengthen out a little bit for CO, so he's able to get the work, and Aaron Hill really glad to be in the lineup.
Yeah, and Chip told us today, Jody, that Aaron has a good track record against Doug Fister, and he wants to keep him going here. And I guess they really put CO through his paces earlier today, trying to get him to keep that bat bob in the strike zone a little longer. That's what Chip told us the coaches are working on with Chris Owings.
Yeah, that's the mechanical part of it, and certainly if he can fix that, it will lead to better results. But more than anything else has just been his pitch recognition, just the inability to quickly recognize what pitch he's going to be swinging at. Chasing a lot of sliders in the dirt, a lot of fastballs up out of the zone.
Nick Ahmed, the shortstop. A couple of singles yesterday in Houston. He's got 4 hits in his last 5 games. And he's ahead 2-0. Here's Chris Owings. Chip told us they worked him really hard today. Went all out with him in early hitting. They told him he would not play tonight, so let's work hard right here. Get the night off tonight just to sort of take things in, and then come back and get him again tomorrow. So that's the plan with Chris Owings here tonight. 3-0 now on Ahmed. 221 and 6 homers. I thought that was a pretty good idea. They told him, look, you're not going to play tonight, so this is your game right here. Let's really work on this stuff this afternoon and try and make some progress, and then tonight just sit back and watch.
Well, I think it speaks to how
Ahmed gives this a ride out to Robinson in left field, and there it goes. Nick Ahmed, number 7, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Right into the bullpen. Nick Ahmed, it's been an up and down roller coaster year offensively for Nick, but that roller coaster seems, Bob, like it's on its way back up.
Yeah, starting to take some better passes at balls in the zone. That time got a pitch sinker that was supposed to be down and in, straight up and out over the plate, and put a line drive into that bullpen in left center.
Yeah, Pfister got a hanger, and Ahmed didn't miss it. Godley down 0-2, taking his axe up there.
I was saying about Chris Owings, I think it speaks to how highly the organization feels about Chris Owings, that they're willing to just give him a day off from the game to work on some of his mechanical issues. A lot of young players struggling the way CO has been lately would find themselves in the starting lineup for the Aces. But they think he's got something to offer here at the major league level, and a few tweaks here or there and a little better pitch recognition, and Chris Owings will be a real usable piece for this team.
Yeah, CO 32 strikeouts in his last 92 at bats, so they've had to hit the reset button a bit as Pfister strikes out Godley, his third strikeout. And there are two down in the third. Here's Inciarte. It's good to see Nick coming back around. You could put Nick Ahmed under that same heading, Bob. He's gone through a 4 for 50 something stretch here, but they've hung with him at shortstop.
Oh, his defense is just so good. He's one of those guys that he could go 4 for the rest of the season and still help you win ball games with his glove.
Ender struck out his first time. I think we've seen a couple of times in this ball game so far. Good example, Bob, of what we talked about. Pfister just not being able to get that ball down. It is not sinking. He's hung a few up there.
It's a funny kind of thing, but sinker ball pitchers, I've heard pitching coaches say arm up, ball down. As soon as you let that arm start to drop a little bit, or your wrist kind of drop a little bit, instead of being on top of the baseball and getting that good sinking action, as I was mentioning earlier, it just kind of tails and stays on the same plane. That ball really has no sink whatsoever. Stayed just below belt level all the way in there. Arm up, ball down.
It stays 0-2. And Matt Williamson, talking about Pfister's search to regain that sinker, has said with a sinker ball pitcher, if he loses his feel for that pitch, then it's hard to make mistakes in the middle of the plate because it's 87, 88. It's not 96 like other guys have. And we just saw a good example of that right there on the Ahmed homer. And they're giving him a battle up there.
And the home runs have been an issue over the last 4 ball games. 7 homers allowed by the Nationals pitching staff. Previous 12 games they'd allowed 7 homers. They don't give up a lot. 3rd fewest in the National League, but been somewhat of a problem recently for Matt Williams and the Nationals.
Well, now 7 pitches for Inciarte in the at bat, 4 foul balls, and he's back even 2-2. Lifts it out to Robinson in left. Almost overran it, came in a bit. It drifted over his head, and that's the inning. But Nick Ahmed, his 7th of the year, into the bullpen, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Saturday, August 8th, to pay tribute to Randy Johnson when the Diamondbacks retire Randy's number 51 jersey. All fans with us at the ballpark that day will get this commemorative T-shirt courtesy of Fry's Food Stores. Get your tickets right now at dbacks.com. 6 up, 6 down for Zach Godley, who struck out the side in the second, and now Wilson Ramos leads off the third. 1-0 Diamondbacks on Nick Ahmed's 7th home run of the year. First pitch swing and a broken bat grounder right to Aaron Hill at second. And a quick out, number 1.
Is this getaway day and I didn't get the memo or something?
We fooled you.
This is like the last day of spring training. Everybody up there hacking at the first pitch close to the strike zone.
Well, you got to be careful with Michael Taylor here. 237 and 9 homers. He's had his opportunities this year. There have been without Span and Worth. And Taylor has started 75 games, and he's done pretty well. Now, having said that, he had a tough time against all those Mets pitchers in New York. We know what that's like. Over the weekend, he struck out 9 times in 12 at-bats. He was hitless in the series at Citi Field. And it's a ball and a strike. He's got some power, 3 homers in his last 11 games. There's his weekend against the Mets, as Thor was throwing hammers last night. He hammers this one up in the air, but it's an easy fly ball for Inciarte. And Zach Godley has retired the first 8 he's faced. Here's Pfister. 2 outs on 4 pitches for Godley in the third. Well, you were talking about, Bob, would this be Zach Godley's final start? And Chip Hale told us before the game it might not be. He could keep going after tonight. The issue is the innings, as Doug Pfister steps in. You'll remember the Cubs last year used him as a relief pitcher. So he only threw 55 innings in the minor leagues last season. He threw just under 90 as a starter at Visalia and Mobile this year. And so already for Zach, a big jump in the workload, plus now 12 big league innings going into tonight. So just over 100 coming off 55 last year. There's a concern about the jump, but they think he can handle it. And he strikes out Pfister. That's his 4th strikeout, a 7-pitch third. He's retired all 9 he's faced and leads it 1-0. Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. By Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. And by It Matters AZ. Talk with your kids about the dangers of underage drinking. Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. on a gorgeous summer evening. Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 1-0 on Nick Ahmed's 7th home run of the year. And now A.J. Pollock will lead off the 4th against Doug Fister. And there's another strike one. Fister has done this all night long. A.J. grounded out his first time. He has thrown a first pitch strike to every hitter so far except for Nick Ahmed, who homered with one out in the 3rd. He did not go. That's Mark Carlson down there at first. AJ left Friday's game with what the Diamondbacks called tightness behind his left knee, not a hamstring issue and not an injury per se. That one came a little too close.
How did that not hit him?
I don't know.
He had to go Matrix on that one.
Fortunately, just breezed by the shoulder. 2 balls and a strike. 2-2 now. Chip told us today that AJ did all his running yesterday in Houston and could have pinch hit yesterday, but the opportunity didn't come up. And AJ has done everything they have asked him to do as far as the conditioning and the agility exercises, and he's back in there tonight with a base hit to lead off the 4th. He's 1 for 2. But they will keep an eye on him and check in with him periodically over the course of the ball game, see how that knee feels.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
We are so high up here, there's a helicopter landing in the booth. Here's Goldie.
I'm still waiting for another hawk to fly by with a fish in its talons.
That actually happened a couple of years ago here. Goldie grounded out his first time. The home run pace has slowed for Paul Goldschmidt. Since the end of June, he's hit 2 home runs in his last 32 games. And naturally, in this head-to-head matchup with Bryce Harper, you're going to talk about Triple Crown stuff, because he is very much a candidate for that. But the home run pace has slowed a bit here.
And a lot of Goldie's base hits recently have come to left field with a lot of topspin. Seems to have a little bit of an uppercut in that short, quick, choppy-like swing, and occasionally he's catching that ball and hitting Sandy Koufax curveballs over the left side of the infield in front of the left fielder.
Well, Nick Ahmed, when he homered up there, was ahead in the count on Fister, 3 balls and no strikes. He's fallen behind 2-0 on Goldie. So let's see if he can take advantage. Right by him, 2-1. This is where we are. Where are we? Oh, see, way at the top,
way up here.
I mean, seriously, it's like well, it's like 15,000 feet down there.
Yeah, we've told the story too. Pat Hughes, the fine longtime radio announcer for the Cubs, actually wears a seat belt up here. He's terrified of heights.
You could base jump off this thing. 2-1. The players all look like little ants down there. Gonzo, by the way, frankly petrified.
Yeah.
He's just to our right working radio with the governor, Greg Schulte, and Gonzo stuck his head out the window and yelled down here, "I don't like this. It's too high." I said, "Get back in the booth."
See, this is unusual because normally when Gonzo doesn't like something, it gets changed.
Exactly.
I don't think they're going to move the press box down any lower, so
there he is.
There he is.
He looks petrified. There's Greg Schulte on the radio side.
You know, it doesn't look scary, but the thing is, when you stand up in these booths, the wall hits you right about knee high. So even as you get out toward the front of the booth, yeah, you feel like you're going to flip right over the railing.
Look how long they have to pull out before you can even see the field. 2-2. Goldie battling Fister up there.
A nice crowd here for a Monday night in Washington. Their attendance is up considerably this year. I think a lot of people are jumping on that bandwagon just in case.
Well, it is D.C. You wait for
the polls say.
Exactly. This is popped up foul. Ryan Zimmerman. This area has undergone a tremendous amount of development. If you came here, say in 08, right at the recession, they had all this construction plan beyond the ballpark on the other side of the center field fence, and it all had to stop because the money went away. And we all know what everybody went through then. But now you can see there's a skyline of cranes. They are building one high-rise after another here, and the area is booming. And you can see two of the cranes right there in the shot. David Peralta singled his first time up. So fly ball to Taylor in center, backing up, still backing up. He's at the track and the wall. It's gone, a home run. David Peralta, that's number 10. And it's 3-0 Diamondbacks. It carried, and Taylor didn't want to show that he didn't have the baseball. And the Diamondbacks have a 3-0 lead.
I mentioned it earlier in the ball game. When the weather heats up here in the nation's capital, the ball really jumps to center and right center, and that one just over the glove of Michael Taylor in front of the bleachers out there behind the fence. Diamondbacks take a 3-0 lead.
Boy, David Peralta. 10 for 21 on the road trip now with 7 RBIs. Here's Castillo. What a stretch it's been for David Peralta. The extra base hits have been coming in bunches. Castillo gives this one a ride. It's headed toward the bullpen. It's headed toward the seats. And it's way out of here. They go back to back. And there's beef on the menu in D.C. It's 4-0.
No hijinks from Michael Taylor that time. He had to buy a ticket to catch that ball. Absolutely crushed by Wellington Castillo. Just to the left of straightaway center once again. Well up into the bleachers.
That's 3 pitches, 2 home runs against Doug Fister. He hung another one.
Man, another belt high sinker that just tails. It doesn't sink. Very flat. Stays right there in the hitting zone for Wellington Castillo, and he did not miss it.
Diamondbacks go into beef mode. Here's Jake Lamb. See if we can stay on the protein diet here. Wellington Castillo. Dick struck out his first time, 0 for 1. 4-0 Diamondbacks. Homers from Ahmed, Peralta, and Beef. I expect, Bob, when we get back finally, if we ever do, from this long road trip, we're going to see some beef signage at Chase Field.
I like it.
The fans are going to get into that. And it is like a golf course here now. A little quiet at Nats Park. The roller to Rendon at second. 2 down. Brings up Aaron Hill. Aaron flied out right to Taylor in center his first time up.
They hit it hard on a line to Taylor out there in center field. I mentioned Aaron Hill's numbers against Doug Fister in his career. 3 for 10 lifetime with 2 home runs. That's why Aaron's in there at second base tonight.
Wellington Castillo now with 12 homers on the season. 10 of them with the Diamondbacks. 1-2. And in the meantime, Zach Godley, who's now got a 4-0 lead, has retired all 9 he's faced. 4 by strikeout. Another fly ball to Taylor in center off the bat of Hill. And he's got it. But David Peralta gets us started. Number 10 on the year, a 2-run shot, and then Beef Wellington is 10th with the Diamondbacks. They go back-to-back jacks, and it's 4-0 Arizona. Silent Cal Coolidge wins the president's race. He beats Lincoln by a nose, which is not easy if you've seen Abe.
Cool breeze Calvin.
Yunel Escobar leads off the bottom of the 4th against Zach Godley. That's the Nationals' first hits. I think we need a match race between Calvin Coolidge and Gracie.
Ooh. Kind of a fast-paced race at the beginning tonight, but then the Presidents really slowed down when they got to the right field corner. I think that's where Gracie really picks it up, you know. His focus is always it's a little scattered when the race starts, and by the time he realizes the race is on, he's too far behind to catch up.
Anthony Rendon.
A lot like the real Mark.
I thank you. I decided not to, but then figured I'd let you come in and clean it up. I was going to say it's a perfect match.
Might not do much for you in that first at bat of the game, but you want him up to the plate in the 9th inning.
Art imitating life. Rendon flied out his first time. He's 0 for 1. He homered last night in their loss at Citi Field against the Mets. He was 3 for 5. This was Anthony Rendon at Citi Field against Thor. Just about the only mistake that Noah Syndergaard made last night. And Rendon finished a triple shy of the cycle.
It looked like a double initially, but hit on that black wall behind the fence and ricocheted back on the field of play. And after review, they determined it indeed was a home run.
Now, he has picked up the offensive pace since he's been back in their lineup. It's been just about a week. He's got 8 hits and 3 bases on balls in his last 7 games. He was out with a knee and an oblique injury. Came back, had to go back on the DL with a left quadricep strain, and just came back on July 25th. There's a strike, 3-1. First 3-ball count tonight for Zach Godley. It's full 3-2.
Yeah, the Nats don't run the bases a lot. Williams, more of an American League style manager in that respect. Lets his guys swing the bats. Doesn't like to bunt. Doesn't like to run. Michael Taylor leads the team with 12 stolen bases. Denard Span, who we mentioned on the DL, second on the team with 11.
See if Godley can get a ground ball here in turn 2. There it is, but it's foul. And a nice grab down there by Bob Henley, the third base coach.
I was hoping Bob would throw that to Aaron Hill at second base. Go ahead and turn the double play even though it was foul. Nice barehanded play.
Yeah, those old instincts kick in. We'll do it again on 3-2. Escobar, the runner at first. In the air, here comes Ender. It drops in front. He barehanded a play at second, and they got him. Ender Inciarte. Escobar had to hold up to make sure that would drop. It looked like Inciarte might have a chance at it, and they got the lead runner.
That's a fielder's choice for Anthony Rendon. What a great play by Ender Inciarte. A nice pick at the other end by Nick Ahmed to turn that into a force out at second base.
Yeah, the old 9-6 force out.
I mean, that's a do or die play for Ender. If he tries to grab that ball barehanded and misses, and it gets behind him at all down into that right field corner, it's a whole different play. But he was able to come up with it cleanly and fired a strike to Nick to get that out at second base.
Well, here's Harper now with one out, and Rendon the runner at first. 9-6 on the putout. The fielder's choice puts Rendon at first base for Harper. Bryce Harper flied out his first time up 0 for 1. That's bounced into right, a base hit. Second hit in the inning for the Nationals. 2 on and 1 out for Ryan Zimmerman.
I've said this before, partner, but when you have one guy who the offense is so totally dependent on, and you can hold him to a ground ball single to right field, that's been a good at bat.
You'll take it with this guy. That's
he didn't hit it in the gap. He didn't hit it out of the ballpark. A ground ball single into right field. You still have the double play in order with runners at first and second. Certainly Zach Godley trying to get him out, trying to execute good pitches, but against the premier hitters in the game, sometimes a base hit is a moral victory.
Zimmerman struck out his first time up. He's got that batting stance, Bob, where that bat head points almost directly straight out back at the pitcher. I'm thinking of Julio Franco. He's got a little Julio Franco in him right there. Right there you go.
Yep.
That's the strike inside, 1-1. Conversation back there with Brian Gorman, the crew chief, our plate umpire. Mark Carlson at first, Gabe Morales at second, and Trip Gibson, the umpire, at third. 40 pitches now for Zach Godley, 27 strikes. Toward the right field corner, and that is a foul ball. Well, Zach Godley says the more you go out there, the more comfortable you get, and the more you get settled in. And now in his third big league start, he's in there against Bryce Harper and Ryan Zimmerman and the Washington Nationals. So we'll see how uncomfortable he can make these Washington hitters. He's ahead of Zimmerman, 1-2. Called strike 3. Ring him up and sit him down. That's 5 strikeouts for Godley and 2 down in the 4th.
Well, after throwing a couple of sinkers in that same location that fell out of the strike zone down and in. He comes back with a cutter in that same spot, and Zimmerman just froze on that pitch, caught plenty of the plate.
He struck out Zimmerman twice. 2 down for Clint Robinson, the left fielder, who struck out his first time up.
You know, I kind of half jokingly said that when it's working, he can get by with just a sinker and a cutter. Well, he's only thrown 2 changeups in the ball game so far. Everything else, hard sinker, hard cutter in the low 90s. And a very subtle difference between those 2 pitches. You want to try to make them look as much alike as you possibly can. For guys that have big hands, it's really just a matter of finger pressure. More finger pressure with the index finger to throw a sinker, more finger pressure with the middle finger to throw a cutter. Other guys will move their thumb underneath the ball a little more or a little less to get the movement they're looking for. But it's devastating to a hitter. 2 pitches that go the opposite directions, but they look exactly the same coming out of your hand.
He's behind on Robinson 2-0. Robinson has done a good job filling in different spots for Matt Williams this year. He started games at first base, left field, right field. He can DH from time to time when they need it here. Godley behind now, 3-0. Anthony Rendon, the runner at second. Bryce Harper at first. There's the strike, 3-1. Robinson spent last year with a Dodgers system, mostly in AAA Albuquerque. He hit .312 there with 18 homers. I don't know where that was, Brian Gorman.
One of those automatic 3-0 pitches. As long as it gets to the catcher in the air, it's probably going to be called a strike. That one too high.
And the bases are loaded with 2 down for Ian Desmond. First walk issued by Zach Godley. And it's time for the Mike Harkey 2-out mound visit. Brought to you by...
Well, we talked a lot about Bryce Harper and how he has almost single-handedly carried this offense since the beginning of the season. And you can see the tailspin that Desmond, Zimmerman, and Worth have experienced from last season to this season. But for Matt Williams, he's very lucky to have one guy, at least in Bryce Harper, that's carrying the load.
Desmond admitted late last month he was in a pretty bad place for a while here for much of this season. He had one stretch from May through the All-Star break. It was a 6-week-long slump during which he hit under 130. It's been really, really low for him at points this year. Bases full, 2 down. He struck out his first time up. He's been a very good player over the course of his career. 3 consecutive Silver Slugger awards at shortstop. Each in the last 3 seasons. Zach's fallen behind here, having trouble locating now. 2-0. And the problem he's had, we've seen this from time to time with him in his 2 starts, is his stuff just moves so much that sometimes it'll move out of the strike zone and a patient hitter will get quickly ahead in the count. Big hack at that one, 2-1.
Yeah, sometimes you have to open up your target a little bit. When you're on top of your game and you're commanding everything, you can try to throw to the mitt. But when your command is a little spotty, sometimes you're better served just aiming right for the middle of the chest protector or the middle of the mask. Try to keep it a little simpler, a little bit bigger target, and then let the ball move within the strike zone.
Yeah, he's struggling right now. 3-1. Sometimes that ball will run too much on him. He overthrew that one, it looked like. 3 balls and a strike, bases loaded, 2 outs. A bouncer to shortstop, Ahmed. And Zach Godley sprints off the mound. He leaves them loaded, and he keeps it a 4-0 Diamondback lead with the help of a tremendous defensive play by Ender Inciarte.
The bases loaded to escape that jam. Bryce Harper, a little gamesmanship here, kind of sticks his foot out there, tries to distract Nick Ahmed as he's fielding that ground ball. Doesn't bother Nick in the least.
Thanks, Pele.
Yeah, would have been too funny if it would have hit him in the foot. He'd have been out.
Would have worked out just fine. That's all right to have a little fun out there while you're playing. Nick Ahmed, who homered in his first at bat, leads off the 5th against Doug Fister. 4-0 Diamondbacks. Home runs from Ahmed, Peralta, and Castillo. And there's strike 1. The homer for Nick, a solo shot, is 7th of the year. This was Nick in the 3rd. He got ahead in the count and hit a 3-1 pitch out of here.
Just a flat sinker that stayed in there about belt high. Screaming line drive into that left field bullpen.
The old hanging nothing ball. That's a strike, 1 and 2.
We told you this earlier this season when Nick hit his 6th home run. That's the most he ever had in a professional season anywhere. That was back in 2012 in Lynchburg, A-ball in the Carolina League. Over 130 games and 571 plate appearances. He had 6 homers. Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
3-2 pitch. In the hole and into right. A base hit for Nick Ahmed. He's 2 for 2. Well, that time Fister got the ground ball he wanted. There is a Doug Fister Diamondback connection. It's a thin one, I'll grant you. He's in his 2nd season in Washington. A 16-game winner last year following a trade from Detroit. He was acquired by the Nationals in a deal with the Tigers before last year. That was the same trade that sent Robbie Ray from Washington to Detroit. And now Robbie Ray, who came up in the National system, spent 1 year with the Tigers, is now a Diamondback. So he and Fister involved in the same trade. Having some Good yucks about that bunt attempt right there from Zach Godley. Try it one more time here.
Obvious bunting situation here for the pitcher Zach Godley, and with Escobar drawn way in at third base, he needs to move this ball to the right side of the infield right here. Either that or deaden it right out there in the grass in front of the pitcher's mound. Make Fister come in and make the play. Chances are the only play he'll have is at first base.
Bunt attempt goes foul. Well, Chip Hale very unhappy with his team's effort in the loss yesterday in Houston, the Sunday day game. And he said the energy level wasn't great compared to the way the Diamondbacks have been playing here on the road trip. And he said he was frankly surprised they weren't a little more competitive yesterday against the Astros. That he would get to the bottom of it and crank it back up for Washington. And they talked about energy before the ball game today, a team meeting. And Chip, no big deal. He just addressed the team, said let's keep that energy level up, have more competitive at bats. Fister has only one play as Godley gets the bunt down, and Ahmed moves to second.
Nicely done. See, that's one of the toughest things in the game to do. We know that very few people can bunt nowadays, but to do it when everybody in the ballpark knows you're up there to bunt and you still advance a guy, nice job.
Ender Inciarte 0 for 2.
Now, I can see how Chip would be a little irritated that his team lacked energy, because that man is never at a lack for energy.
Well, he was a little upset. And he just said, look, too many non-competitive at-bats in that game. Now, McHugh pitched a good game, and that was part of it. Some of it is a byproduct of that, but he just was not happy with the way they competed. And he called it a clunker, which happens over the course of 162. You're going to get those, especially on a long road trip like this one, a Sunday day game after the night game, the whole thing. But he wants that energy level up. And so they got a little reminder about that before the game today. That's in the seats. Here's Chip Hale.
We just didn't do a good job. This is the way it goes. Sunday day game. Energy level wasn't great compared to the way we've been playing here on this road trip. So we'll have to get to the bottom of it and crank it back up for Washington.
Surprise you a little bit?
Yeah, it does. It does. Playing here and good atmosphere to play ball in. I'm surprised we weren't a little more competitive today.
That was after the game yesterday, talking with Jody Jackson. But they are competing here tonight, that's for sure, up 4-0. And threatening more here. Ender rolls it into right, a base hit. They'll stop Ahmed at third as Andy Green put the brakes on there. Didn't want to give Harper a chance to throw out the shortstop at home plate.
And you've got your two best hitters making their way to the plate right now. You don't want to get a guy thrown out at home plate. That ball shot through the right side pretty quickly to get to Bryce Harper out there in right field.
So here's AJ, who singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 2. You've got Nick Ahmed at third and Ender Inciarte at first. Ball one. I guess if a team is tired or lethargic, it doesn't do a whole lot of good to yell at them, does it?
Not really. It might make you feel better. But I don't think it's going to make them play better. And, you know, it always happens. You hear fans say it a lot. Boy, did they look flat. The teams tend to look flat when they get a well-pitched game against them, and their offense doesn't do what you're used to seeing them do. First 4 hitters in the D-backs lineup yesterday were combined 1 for 16.
And as Chip said, Colin McHugh pitched very well. Keuchel certainly pitched great on Saturday. Goldie went hitless Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, Randy had a tendency to pitch against other teams when they were flat offensively. You know what I mean?
Yep. Not a coincidence. Fister at 80 pitches right now, only 54 for strikes. Good to see AJ back in the lineup tonight, coming off that knee problem. 2-1. We saw him before the game yesterday out there on the field in Houston, running through some agility drills with the training staff. I guess he had some tests to pass before they would let him back in the lineup. But it's all good, and he's in there tonight. 2-1 now. There's a tough spot for Fister. He's got 2 on, 1 out, already down 4-0. Behind on Pollock, 3-1. He's got that guy on deck. So what do you want to throw here? And he's thinking about it. Wilson Ramos behind the plate. Lifted in the air to Harper in right. Ahmed is at third. And here we go. The throw from Harper, and Ciarte moves up. It's offline, and it's 5-0 Diamondbacks. The RBI for Pollock. And Ender moves up 90 feet.
Well, we didn't bring our prop with us, but you know what that means. 5 runs for the D-backs. Tacos for everybody tomorrow between 4 and 6 at participating locations.
We've got to tape something to take it with us on the road. Well, they got first base open here. 2 outs. Goldie up. Bullpen busy. Tanner Roark is warming. They're not going to see a free pass, at least not an intentional one, or unintentional one, I should say. There's strike 1 to Goldie, who's 0 for 2.
Yeah, whether you intentionally walk an opposing hitter or pitch around him, as it appears the Nationals are doing right here, is really just dependent on how much confidence the manager has that that pitcher won't make a mistake in trying to pitch around a hitter.
Well, that's happened to Chip Hale a couple of times this year with Jeremy Hellickson. Goldie looked like he was fooled on that one.
Got the ball tail right back to the middle of the plate.
One and 2. Called strike 3. 4th strikeout for Fister. They strand the runner, but they get one. Bottom 5 coming up. Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 5-0. And here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Zach Godley rolling along here. We'll see if he can maintain a 5-0 lead.
Godley said it's been a lot of fun watching him win his first 2 games. On a personal level, guys, he said he's kind of like Wade Miley, a country boy on the staff again. He said, I bet he hunts and fishes and locks himself in the woods in the off season. And maybe you've noticed, guys, that he calls me ma'am. He's very polite.
Yes, ma'am. Wilson Ramos leads off the 5th. Godley left the bases loaded and kept the Nationals scoreless in the bottom of the 4th. So far, just 2 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts.
I noticed Zach was on the late bus out to the ballpark today, and several of us were talking about fishing, and that's when his head really perked up. He was kind of nestled in there, ready to take a nap on the way to the ballpark, and I asked one of the guys on the bus, he went fishing this morning. What were you throwing? What kind of bait were you using? And that's when I saw Zach's head raise up a little bit and lean forward with an ear.
That is fishing them spinners.
Crawdad imitation.
1-2. Well, that was a big out to get when he got Desmond to ground out to shortstop with the bases loaded in 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. And that's, for the most part, the way things went for him in his last start at Seattle, when he didn't have great command like he did against Milwaukee. But he could make the big pitch and get the ground ball when he really needed it. And we saw that in the last inning. And Chip Hale talked about that. He liked the way that Godley handled himself out there when things weren't going exactly perfectly all the time. Had a couple of double play balls turned behind him at Safeco Field last week. 2-2 on Ramos. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Taylor made, 1 away. Hey fans, now's the time. Tweet us your AZ Data Strong fan photo. And you might see your photograph on our Diamondback broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, Gonzo, I don't think, Bob, that Gonzo is going to do as well as he did in Houston because we're up so high here. We've already documented how it's frankly made him a little nervous.
Well, hopefully he made his pick before he got here to the ballpark. Because I know he spends a lot of time in his room back at the hotel late at night poring over these pictures.
That's what he says anyway. Michael Taylor. Now, Taylor's got some power. Diamondback fans, in fact, may remember that. As we mentioned earlier, 3 homers, 9 RBIs in his last 11 games, but he had a big home run at Chase Field when the Nats were there in the middle of May, and he's got himself a base hit here. Knocks it into left. It was May 13th against Addison Reed. Diamondbacks were up 6-5, 9th inning, a chance to win the series. And then Washington got 4 on the Taylor slam to win it 9-6 and win the series. That was the series finale in rubber game. Now, this guy's turned into a nice player for them at the age of 24. Doug Fister, who throws righty and bats lefty. There's his strike. Jake Lamb almost halfway in at third. Goldie holds Taylor on the bag at first. Strike 2. Can you tell Fister played in the American League as a Mariner and a Tiger for a long time? Or is it just me?
He does have 4 sack bunts on the season, but doesn't look like he's enjoying this at bat against Zach Godley too much. And that late movement we've talked about on that sinker will cause a batter to stab at the ball when that movement happens in the hitting zone.
Goldie crashing in there as well. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, it can't be fun to bunt against Zach Godley when that ball is darting and diving and dropping all over the place. He gets it down in front of the plate. Castillo's got to play at second, and they turn the double play. Now they're going to check to make sure that they got the force in time on Taylor. Castillo, the ball was not bunted far enough away from home plate here to play at second. Let's see.
Castillo out of the chute, gets rid of the mask, a barehanded play, and fires on to second base.
Was the foot on the bag?
Kind of started with his foot right in the middle of the base out there at second, and then drug his toe across the bag as he stretched out for the Castillo throw.
Still no word on whether the Nationals want to challenge. They're still trying to make up their minds. Doesn't look like his foot is on the bag with the baseball. And again, if the throw makes the fielder extend, then it is no longer the neighborhood play, and therefore it is subject to review. If he has to extend and come off the bag like that, then it's no longer a safety issue because he's not on the bag. Therefore, you can look at it, and the neighborhood rule does not apply. They're not challenging here, but the umpires are huddling. Brian Gorman, the plate umpire, is the crew chief. And they will put the headsets on. This might not be a challenge.
I mean, if you're Nick Ahmed, you've got to catch the baseball. You can't let that ball sail through into center field in an effort to keep your foot on the bag. So you try to hang on there as long as you can as you're stretching for that throw. And unfortunately, that time Nick's foot appeared to slide off the base at second before he made the catch. I'm not so sure about the play at first base either.
This is a Washington Nationals challenge. They are challenging the out call at second base. It's another replay review brought to you by Mix One. The Nationals challenge the call on the field, which is out at second. And we're told they are also having them, Bob, and you were correct here as always, having them take a look at the play at first as well, since they've opened up this whole can of worms.
This could go from an inning-ending double play to possibly 2 on with 1 out.
Wow,
that's really tough to tell there. As always, it depends on when the ball hits the back of the glove, the pocket of the glove, not when it just enters the vicinity of the glove. It's got to hit leather in order for it to be in possession.
This one may take New York a while. There's a lot to look at. And it's a big call. Either it's first and second maybe with 1 out, or the end of the inning.
Boy, that is close. Really close.
It's got to be clear and convincing. Is it too close to overturn the call?
And props to Doug Fister for hustling down that line. You know, he bunted that ball out in front of home plate. Castillo made the play to second base, but Fister wasn't observing. He was running down that first baseline.
And Nick, it looks like, is pretty clearly off the bag here. Right up until the last moment that the ball is in the glove.
We're talking tenths of a second, maybe less than that.
And here we go. Safe at second and out at first. So the challenge works. Matt Williams retains his challenge. The out call at second is overturned. Pfister is out at first, so it's Taylor at second base now, and 2 outs. Take a look at our updated replay review standings in games involving the Diamondbacks, brought to you by Mix One. That's a sacrifice bunt, 2-6-4 on the putout with Taylor in there at second. And Yunel Escobar, who singled his last time up, will be the hitter. A sacrifice for Pfister, 2-6-4. Taylor at second, 2 down. Yunel Escobar having a very nice first season in Washington. 314 and 6 homers coming into the ball game. He's now at 315. He homered last night in their loss at Citi Field in New York. Godley ahead 0-2. Escobar acquired from Oakland in January for reliever Tyler Clippard. Clippard has since been traded again. He's now with the rival Mets. And Escobar has had a very good year here in D.C. Oh, and 2. He didn't go, says Mark Carlson at first. A ball and 2 strikes. Here's a look. Zach Godley got out of a bases loaded 2-out nest to end the 4th. He's trying to strand Taylor at second here with 2 outs in the 5th. 1-2 on Yunel Escobar.
All changeups so far in this at bat. All 4 pitches to Escobar have been straight changeups.
Missed away, 2-2. Funny, he'd been saving that changeup, it seems, maybe for the second or third time through the order. Bounced one, and it's full 3-2.
Another changeup in the dirt out in front of home plate. He did throw 1 fastball on the pitch before just to kind of get Escobar off of that split finger changeup.
70 pitches, 43 strikes. Called strike 3. Got him. 6 strikeouts, and Zach Godley sprints off the mound again. And again, he keeps the Nationals scoreless. He rings up Escobar with a high strike call. It's 5-0 Diamondbacks. Stanley and Jody Jackson here. It's 5-0 Diamondbacks, first of a 4-game series with the first place Nationals. 3 D-back homers. Ahmed, Peralta, and Castillo. A sac fly by A.J. Pollock has tacked on another run. And here's Peralta, who so far is 2 for 2, a single and a home run. As Peralta and Wellington Castillo went back-to-back in the 4th. And David on the road trip now 10 for 21 with 7 RBIs. 3-0. Tell you what, Bob, Zach Godley has made some big pitches when he's really needed to.
He really has. And we talk about other pitchers when they get runners in scoring position or when they get in a jam, they have usually one pitch they like to go to more often than the others. The pitch they have the most confidence in. I think based on that at bat, Zach Godley has the most confidence in that changeup.
Which, as you pointed out, he was not throwing almost at all in the early portions of the ballgame.
Yeah, and that may have been a factor, show him something they haven't seen a lot of in the ballgame, but ultimately came back with that cut fastball for strike 3 looking.
This was David Peralta in the 4th, just over the glove of Michael Taylor in left center. Tucked behind the fence there. You couldn't see if it was back there or in the glove. And it was gone for his 10th of the year. Now Peralta's gone to lead off the 6th. That's 5 strikeouts for Pfister. And then after Peralta homered, it was Beef Wellington. And what a run that Wellington Castillo is on. He's now got 5 home runs in his last 7 games, including tonight. And Beef Wellington is our Arizona Federal Credit Union Power Player of the Game. How about this road trip? Not bad, huh? 9 hits, 5 of them are homers. For a guy who's got a bad elbow and can't really walk with that hamstring, he takes Taylor back to the track in center. 2 down. Jake Lamb 0 for 2. Doug Pfister right at 100 pitches. Tanner Roark had been throwing earlier in the ball game. Nationals bullpen now quiet. Jake has struck out and grounded out so far. He's got 10 hits in his last 8 games. 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run. There's strike 1. We're talking about Chip Hale's level of frustration with his ball club's lack of energy yesterday, and the play that Chip really said kind of cooked his grits a little bit was when Jake Lamb got picked off second base. Yeah. He said, on this team, that's just unacceptable. And he wasn't picking on Jake Lamb, just using it as an example of you've got to maintain that energy level we talked about.
Yeah, we talk so much about the physical toll that playing 162 games in 180 days will take on the human body, but a lot of times it's between the ears. If you don't maintain your focus, that's when you make mistakes. Yeah, most guys, these guys are young. The Diamondbacks, second youngest team in all of Major League Baseball. They should have plenty of physical energy going into the game. You just want to make sure that they've got that mental focus every night.
Yeah, Jake Lamb picked off second base to end an inning in a Diamondback threat. And they didn't get too many chances against Colin McHugh the way he pitched yesterday at Minute Maid Park. Pfister now over 100 pitches, 101, 66 strikes. 2-2 on Lamb. Right by Dave McKay, but foul at first.
Nice play.
Yeah, nice scoop. She might be the female answer to Sid Doc Rosenblatt. Yeah. Doc has those kind of ball handling skills, good with the glove. Of course, she fielded that when it was foul. And
well, Doc's a little more aggressive, just a little bit.
Doc is the man.
Game face.
Working that gum. Anthony Rendon can't get it. Jake Lamb's aboard a 2-out single. That's the 8th hit for the Diamondbacks. Here's Aaron Hill. Aaron Hill, who, as we mentioned, is in the lineup, partly because they're giving Chris Owings a chance to hit the reset button a bit and work on some mechanical things, but also a good track record against Doug Fister. But so far 0 for 2, 2 fly balls to center.
I mentioned 3 for 10 coming into this game with a couple of homers. This was one of them last year in May at home over the bullpen out there in left field just inside the foul pole.
One and one. Aaron made back-to-back starts at third base over the weekend in Houston. A couple of hits, including a double. Lamb at first, 2 outs. Bullpen busy now for Washington. Tanner Roark is back up and throwing in the bullpen as opposed to throwing up at the bullpen in honor of the late great Jerry Coleman. One of his great lines of all time, the legendary Padre voice. Rich Folkers is throwing up in the bullpen. What's wrong with him? The Colonel.
Oh, doctor.
What a gentleman he was. He is sorely missed.
He had another one time where he said the center fielder goes back and he hits his head on the wall and it's rolling back toward the infield.
Sounds like an episode of Game of Thrones. Valor Morgulis, 2-2 with 2 outs. Missed inside, it's full. Pretty sure that's Tanner Roark throwing in the bullpen. We've got a Hubble telescope up here so we can check to see, and it looks like Roark. We'll see what happens here. 3-2 to Hill, and he struck him out to end the inning. 6 strikeouts now for Fister, who strands Lamb. Bottom 6 coming up. Diamondbacks have a 5-0 lead.
Up, ladies and gentlemen. That ball drops off the table like a curveball. It's a split finger changeup with that tremendous downward movement. A cutter right there off the outside corner to get Desmond. Freezes Ryan Zimmerman on another cutter right in the middle of the plate. And then just to get himself out of a jam, goes to the cutter once again to Yunel Escobar. Outstanding stuff tonight for Zach Godley.
Our Gila River game summary so far for Zach. 5 scoreless sittings. He's given up only 3 hits, a walk and 6 strikeouts. He struck out the side in order in the second. But he plunks Anthony Rendon to lead off the 6th. And you don't want to put runners on base ahead of Bryce Harper if you can help it. Harper so far 1 for 2, a fly out and a single, a ground ball into right field. So Harper's now hit safely in 11 of his last 12. Only a dozen players in the history of baseball have hit at least 55 home runs before their age 22 season. And Bryce Harper is one of them. Mike Trout, Giancarlo Stanton, the only other active players on that list. Fights that one off. It's in the seats. The Triple Crown head-to-head matchup here with Nolan Arenado, the Rockies, leading the RBI race.
It's going to be a good one. All 3 guys tremendous offensive players. Arenado with a slight edge, playing half his games at Coors Field. I think Goldie's got a couple more long ball runs in him before this season comes to an end.
1-1 misses away. 2 balls and a strike. Now we've mentioned the home run pace has slowed a bit for Paul Goldschmidt. 2 homers in his last 32 games. Harper leads the league with 29. Goldie has it, the backhander. There's 1 and there's 2. They roll the double play. Zach Godley has shown a knack for that, to quickly snuff out some threats by the opposition.
You think about his combination of pitches. If he needs a ground ball, he's got pitches that are designed to have the batter hit the ball on the ground. If he needs a strikeout, he's got pitches that are designed to swing and miss. He really has all the weapons out there on the mound if he can command them.
And that's another case, Bob, of how good Paul Goldschmidt is. That's a really hard throw for him to make to second and not hit Rendon in the back with it.
And make sure you complete your throw to second before you start backpedaling to the bag at first. And Goldie does it as good as anybody I've ever seen. I mean, you see him right there. He makes the throw and immediately turns his back to run back to the base and stretch out there and take that return throw from Nick Ahmed.
Ryan Zimmerman has struck out twice, 0 for 2.
There have been some left-handed fielding first basemen that could turn that 3-6-3, but not very many right-handed first basemen because of all the movement you have to make to get in position to make the throw to second.
America's first baseman here in the nation's capital. Three and 0. A little bit of stirring in the Diamondback bullpen right now. No one throwing, but there is some activity. Godley about to throw his 80th pitch. And it's in there for a strike. 3-1. Addison Reed. Addie's looked good so far. Back up from Reno. The velocity consistently mid-90s. Ball 4. 2-out walk. Second walk issued by Godley, so he's hit a batter and walked one in this inning. And here comes Clint Robinson. There's Addison Reed starting to throw now.
Yeah, we showed you the Triple Crown candidates in the National League. Bryce Harper, Nolan Arenado, and Paul Goldschmidt at this point. If you look at the major league ranks, and one of the new sabermetric stats, it's really been around forever, but it's finally been given a name, OPS, on base plus slugging percentage, which is a relatively simple new statistic, but Bryce Harper and Paul Goldschmidt with a commanding lead. Harper first, Goldie second. Then you see Cabrera and Trout a little further down the road there.
OPS might be the best number we have to quantify offensive performance and value. Your on-base percentage plus your slugging percentage. And anything over 1,000 this just in is really good. Robinson has struck out and walked. Anything over 900 is really good for that matter. Another ground ball. Nick Ahmed. They get the force on Zimmerman, and Zach Godley sprints off the mound with 6 innings of scoreless baseball and a 5-0 lead. And Diamondbacks, D-backs have a 5-0 lead. New pitcher for the Nats. And here's a guy who, when they went out and got all these pitchers, you know, Fister and Scherzer and everybody, Tanner Roark, who had pitched very well, was sort of out of a job. And now he's been a swing man. 28 appearances this year, a 4.71 ERA. But he did a very good job last year as a starter. And then they gave Scherzer $200 million, and there you go. We understand we're having some technical issues back home, so we'll go into radio mode here. Okay. Tanner Roark on the mound for the Nats, and Nick Ahmed leads off the 7th. Ahmed has homered and singled. He scored twice. And now we're back.
Well, you mentioned Roark in the starting rotation last year for the Nationals, and he has a starter's repertoire. He's got a good sinker, slider, curveball, changeup combination, mostly sinker slider out of the bullpen, but he does have all 4 pitches available.
Nick Ahmed, 3 for 3. Back-to-back multi-hit games for Nick, who had 2 hits yesterday in Houston. The first time he's had back-to-back multi-hit games since June 18th and 19th. 2 singles and a home run for Ahmed. And now Godley's spot will come up. He is done. Yasmani Tomas will pinch hit, third 3-hit game this year for Nick Ahmed. So Tomas hits for Godley, who worked 6 scoreless. Gave up just 3 hits. Tomas 295 and 6 homers, 0 for 4 yesterday in Houston with a pair of strikeouts. And now we understand we're back in the woods here. Technical difficulties. Nick Ahmed the runner at first. Yasmani Tomas with a 1-0 count, heading for the pitcher Zach Godley.
I think I know what the problem is. I just saw the satellite go by underneath the booth.
Sputnik is in the booth. Ground control to Major Tom. That's inside. It's 1-1 now on Yasmani Tomas. Pardon me, 2-0. 2-0 is the count. Zach Godley, 6 scoreless innings. He gave up only 3 hits, 2 walks. He struck out 6. And he's on his way, if this lead can stand, to going 3-0 in his first 3 big league starts. Here's the 2-0 to Tomas. It's a strike down and away, 2-1. Strikeouts have been an issue for Yasmani. 31 strikeouts in his last 82 at bats. And the quality of the ABs have not been what they were earlier this year. He's looked a little fatigued. Here's the pitch, and he grounds it right to Rendon at second. Desmond has it at short. They turn 2, and Tomas hits into a double play. Quickly 2 down for the Nationals here in the 7th. Brings up Ender Inciarte. Ender is 1 for 3. He singled his last time up. So much like Zach Godley, Tanner Roark, when he got himself into trouble, got a quick double play ball to get out of it. Ender first pitch swing and drives it to deep left center field. Michael Taylor on the run in the gap, and he runs it down right in front of the warning track for the 3rd out. Bottom 7 coming up at Nationals Park. The Diamondbacks lead at 5-0. Zach Godley, who was, for the most part, outstanding here tonight.
Really good once again. You just have to love his stuff, and when he's commanding it like he did tonight, like he did in his first start at the major league level, he can work his way through an opposing lineup with relative ease.
And we've talked about the idea. Chip Hale told us this before the ball game tonight. This might not be Zach Godley's final start. They are watching the innings. And he was pretty efficient out there. 83 pitches to get through 6. So it's not like he had to empty the tank here, but they're being cautious. And so Reed will open up the 7th against Ian Desmond, who's 0 for 2. And Zach Godley, of course, taking the rotation spot of Chase Anderson, who's on the DL right now with triceps inflammation. Hi, Chase. He threw last night in a rehab appearance, and Chip Hale said today they're not sure when Chase will be back, which means Godley might get at least one more start here. And they have also been talking about going to 6 starting pitchers. This is something that Chip mentioned today to try and ease some of the workload and some of the innings from the starters, especially Patrick Corbin, because at this point, with very few off days still ahead, a little check swing bloop to Goldie and they'll retire Desmond. There's not too many off days ahead on the schedule here, so Corbin is pitching every 5th day. So every start here, coming back from Tommy John, has been on 4 days rest, and that's not the routine they'd like to get him into. And so they don't want to use the word 6-man rotation. That kind of freaks people out. But 6 different starting pitchers going at one time might help ease the transition for Corbin, too.
I think it's a reasonable thing to at least consider moving forward with the arms that you have available and the fact that you have at least a couple guys in that rotation that you want to keep a close eye on their workload the rest of the way. I think if you've got established veteran pitchers who are so used to their routine pitching every 5th day, it might be a little more testy, but given the relatively young age of this Diamondbacks rotation, I think perhaps they would all benefit from that extra day of rest.
Because if you're looking at innings and guys jumping up over their inning totals from last year and you figure out how many innings are left, you go, there's a little bit of a gap there. And who's going to pick up these innings? So you're looking for solutions. And you can bring a minor league guy up, that's fine, but don't forget they've been pitching down there too. They've already run through their innings. So it's not like you just call anybody up. Something that they are trying to work out. But regardless of innings, Zach Godley has more than earned at least one more start for the Diamondbacks. So maybe we'll see him over the weekend against the Reds.
And if not, you know you're going to see him again at some point in the future. He really opened some eyes. I mean, I can still remember his first start. I was making phone calls to everybody I knew trying to get a scouting report. Who can tell us anything about Zach Godley? Even Glenn Sherlock said, well, we know he throws a really good sinker. That was basically it going into that first start.
Well, they were right. Cutter and changeup, not bad either. 2-2 to Wilson Ramos. That's in the seats. Speaking of Chase Anderson, let's take a look at our State Farm report of the game. Here are the numbers from Chase in his rehab start in the Arizona League. 4 innings, 4 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. And Chip said they're not sure when he'll be back. He might get one minor league start someplace. Go to Mobile or Reno. They'll take a look at the schedule and figure that out. In the hole, Lamb at third. Ramos not exactly flying up the line there. He's got a history of leg injuries. 2 outs. Let's go downstairs, somewhere way down there, to Jody. Jody, are you down there?
I am down here, guys. More on the 6-man rotation. I mentioned that to Mike Harkey. I said, look, what are the benefits and the pros and cons, basically. And he said, look, there's only one benefit, and that is to limit some innings for guys. And he mentioned Patrick Corbin, of course, but the odd thing is, and the negatives are, like Bob, you nailed it right on the head. I mean, guys don't really like to be set off from their rhythm, especially Patrick's mentioned a few times. Those first few starts when he had, 7 days in between, 5 or 6 days in between, he didn't really like that. And so that is the negative. But again, if they deem that best for everyone involved, that would be the case. He did say, Patrick Corbin and Jeremy Hellickson, the 2 guys that have had success at this level, those guys probably for sure prefer that routine. So again, it's like you said, Steve, it's kind of a dirty word. Some people don't like to talk about 6-man rotation. It does freak people out, but of course the Diamondbacks just considering that as they go forward.
And it's something that a lot of teams are looking at. A.J. Hinch talked about that over the weekend for the Astros and all the pitching they have. Michael Taylor now. All right, to Nick Ahmed. 3 ground ball outs for Addison Reed, who continues to look good back up from Reno. A 1-2-3-7. Diamondbacks lead at 5-0. to in part by Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. By Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. And by Hayward Pool Products. For crystal clear pool water, choose the world's best-selling salt chlorination system, AquaRite. Back in Washington, D.C., set for the 8th inning, Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 5-0. Washington recently, right at the deadline, went out and got Jonathan Papelbon to be their closer from the Phillies. Now, that's an issue for Drew Storen. Look at these numbers. I mean, he has got a .097 whip. He's got 48 strikeouts in 38 innings. He's been a terrific closer for them. Whole bunch of saves. And now once again, and this has happened repeatedly here with Storen in D.C., he's being told he's no longer the closer after doing nothing but getting guys out.
His last 11 games, he has 8 saves, a hold, has not given up an earned run, 10 1/3 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts. And gets demoted.
Yeah, he was a #1 pick. He's been a good relief pitcher for years now. It happened a few years ago. They went out and got Rafael Soriano as a free agent, and Storen was put in a setup role. He's been the closer all year long, and now he's back as they start this stretch run here through August and September. Back in a setup role and setting up for Papelbon. It's one thing to solidify the back end of your bullpen to make a playoff push. It's another thing when you got a good closer to go out and get another guy.
And you better know the personality of the guy that you're bumping into that setup role. And so far, Drew Storen has taken it like a man, taken it like a professional. Okay, I'll pitch as good as I can in the 7th or 8th inning of a ball game instead of in the 9th. But you got to believe there's a lot of teams out there looking at Drew Storen going, man, there's the answer to our closer problem.
A.J. Pollock right back at you. I mean, Drew Storen, since 2014, has a 1.33 ERA. That is second best among all major league relief pitchers. It's hard to do better than this guy's done, and he lost his job.
4th in the National League in saves.
They know what they're doing, I guess.
Yep.
Postseason troubles, of course, every time they do get into the playoffs. There's always that issue, and it's fairly ambiguous. This team is built to win X number of games. This team is built to win a short postseason series. They're oftentimes different things. As Goldie pops out to Ramos. And the Nationals, over the course of their recent history, have had bullpen problems in the playoffs. Well, it's time to pay off the fan photo. All those of you who tweeted Gonzo our AZ Data Strong fan photo, all Hall of Fame. Luis Gonzalez just to our right here in the radio booth, where the air is a little thin. Got a Diamondback fan, Cooperstown near the Randy Johnson plaque. That's pretty big league.
Pretty solid.
I'm surprised that altitude sickness did not infect Gonzo and alter his decision-making process any more than normal.
He has so many other things affecting his decision-making process that at high altitude is the least of his worries.
Fair point. David Peralta has singled and homered. He's 2 for 3. The Nationals had 6 postseason games last year, an 8.44 ERA. The bullpen was an issue. Well, a 7-pitch inning. We told you Drew Storen was pitching pretty well. He makes quick work of the Diamondbacks, who lead it 5-0. The Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights, bottom 8 here in D.C. Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 5-0. Addison Reed back out for his second inning of relief. On for Zach Godley, pitcher spot leads off the inning for the Nationals. It's Tyler Moore who'll hit for Story.
Tyler Moore has been the most used pinch hitter for Matt Williams this year. 36 at bats off the bench.
Just 4 hits with a home run. And Addison Reed has looked really good since his recall from AAA Reno. He worked 2 innings at Seattle last week. Gave up 3 hits on a run. He had a ball that got lost in the sun behind him that dropped in for an earned run. That probably shouldn't have been. He also had 3 strikeouts. He pitched 1 inning at Houston. No hits, 2 punch-outs. So he has looked like a new guy since he's been back up here after pitching for Phil Nevin down at Reno. 1-1 on Moore.
Like Addison's been working on cutting that fastball a little bit. The fastball in the early part of the season was laser beam straight, but he's got a little cutting action away from the righties on that fastball. Not so much on that last pitch. When you see the velocity creep up into the mid-90s, that's a 4-seamer. He's just trying to blow that one by a hitter. When you see the velocity down in 90-91, that's usually the cutter. Haven't seen a split finger yet, which was supposedly the pitch he was learning down in Reno.
Well, he says he's still more comfortable with a changeup as opposed to the split finger fastball. You could, of course, use the splitter as a change, but it's still pretty much fastball, slider, and the very occasional changeup. I have not seen the split. Diamondback Live postgame show follows our ball game. A strikeout for Reed. That's his first tonight. 4 up, 4 down so far for Addison. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool plays of the game. Zach Godley getting big outs when he needed them. Ian Desmond grounds out to end the 4th. Escobar struck out looking to end the 5th. And the double play there in the 6th. Zach Godley sprints off the mound with our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool plays of the game.
We talk so much about timely hitting on the offensive side, coming up with that big base hit when you have runners in scoring position, and I guess the same holds true for pitching. If you can make that big pitch when you're in trouble, get yourself out of the inning, that's timely pitching, and that's what Zach Godley did tonight.
Yunel Escobar, the leadoff man, 1 for 3 with a single right to Aaron Hill. And Aaron, that's only 2.
Just getting his legs loose.
Watch the rest of the infielders just stand still. All right, we're done.
Save a couple of bucks of your meal money for kangaroo court, Aaron.
He's having a good laugh down there with Gabe Morales now, the second base umpire. Anthony Rendon now. I like the way he signaled 2 outs on the way back in. Going back the other way now. 2 down. 2 down.
Nobody noticed.
He's saying, why couldn't that have happened when you guys had technical difficulties? One and 2. Anthony Rendon out of Rice, a first-round pick by the Nats 4 years ago, the 6th overall selection in the draft. Looks like we'll see Papelbon here tonight. Down 5-0. Well, he's so happy to be out of Philly, he might do cartwheels in from the bullpen. He wanted out big time and was not shy about telling everybody.
I imagine there's at least a couple of his teammates and perhaps even a couple of coaches on the staff that are real glad he's gone too.
He's still got something in the tank, though.
Yeah.
One and two on Anthony Rendon. This is lifted in the air near first. Goldie in foul ground, and Addison Reed 6 up, 6 down. We go to the ninth. Yes, Aaron, that's the third out. It's 5-0 Diamondbacks. Alumni weekend, Randy Johnson's 51 jersey retirement ceremony before the game on Saturday. All fans with us that day get this commemorative t-shirt. Then on Sunday, August 9th, former Diamondback greats gather and take the field after the final out of the 4th annual alumni exhibition game. Overseen by Commissioner Brenly, it's the annual Gonzo-Mike Fetters matchup. Our equivalent of Ali Frazier. DBacks.com/tickets, and we hope to see you there this weekend. Ninth inning, and Jonathan Papelbon, who is one of 3 major league closers to be perfect this season in his save opportunities, is on in the ninth, down 5-0.
Fastball slider splitter combination from Papelbon, although the splitter depends on how the first couple come out of his hand. He'll either continue to use it if it's good or stick it in his back pocket until next time if it's not good.
Wellington Castillo homered in the 4th. His 12th of the year and his 10th with the Diamondbacks. He's got 5 homers in his last 7 games. And Ryan Gorman gives Papelbon the inside strike call there. It's 0-1. Broken bat, check swing, bloop to left. Robinson is there, 1 away. Now Papelbon, when he was really at the height of his powers, as it were, closing games in Boston, had that devastating split, but occasionally he'd hang a few, and then he might not throw the pitch again for 2 or 3 months. It would just vanish from the repertoire. But he has been a lockdown closer this year, and now Matt Williams can go. Well, really what we've seen here tonight, Roark in the 7th, Storen in the 8th, and Papelbon in the 9th. If and when they get to the postseason. Here's Jake Lamb, who singled his last time up, 1 for 3. There is a situation here, especially when you get a new guy like this, if you're Matt Williams and you're at the start of play tonight, tied for the division lead here. They're even with the Mets in a virtual tie. That you've got to think about, Bob, don't you? Using your closer regardless of the score. Certain alternated moments here, so he gets an even workload, right? Going into the playoffs.
You know, they got swept by the Mets in that series over the weekend, and Papelbon, you know, if he got any work, probably was just in there mopping up. But yeah, you got to keep him sharp.
Jake Lamb drives it deep to left field. That ball is gone. A home run. Jake Lamb, his the fourth D-backs homer tonight. He takes Papelbon out of here, and it's 6-0. He homered in Houston, now he homers in Washington. And this time he goes opposite field into the Diamondback bullpen.
Yeah, the one in Houston was pulled high and deep to right field. This one on a fastball up and out over the plate. He stays right on it, drives it to the opposite field. Chases Robinson all the way back to the barrier, just does clear.
Aaron Hill, a two-hopper right to Desmond. 2 down. I would say the Diamondbacks' energy level and their level of competitive at-bats is just where Chip Hale wants it tonight.
Well, you love to see this kind of an effort in the first game of a series, and obviously a slight benefit for the Diamondbacks in that they've gotten to see the sharp end of the stick on the tail end of the bullpen.
Yeah, this is, I mean, if the Nationals have a lead in a postseason game, this is the way they'll go. Roark in the 7th, Story in the 8th, and Papelbon in the 9th. Third 4-home run game of the year for the Diamondbacks. Ahmed in the 3rd, Peralta and Beef Wellington back-to-back in the 4th, and now Lamb in the 9th. And it's 0-1 on Nick, who's 3 for 3. A homer and 2 singles. He scored twice. How about 4 for 4 for Nick Ahmed?
Well, we have a moment here after that Nick Ahmed base hit. Let's take a look at our Geico this day in Major League Baseball history, August 3rd. Now this is just about a month after they each hit their 99th homer on the same day. The Upton brothers, Justin and BJ, each hit their 100th home run about an hour apart, 2 different ballparks. Justin hit his against the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. BJ hit his at Tropicana Field.
Jared Saltalamacchia will hit for the pitcher Addison Reed and carves that one foul. 0-1. Salty 162, couple of home runs. Got the start behind the plate Saturday in Houston, went 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Nick Ahmed 4 for 4. The 4 hits are a career high. And boy, when he busts out of a slump, he doesn't fool around. Ever since, what are we, August 3rd, ever since the 10th of July, Nick had been hitting 105. 105. But he had 2 hits last night. I should say yesterday against the Astros, and 4 for 4 tonight here in Washington. 1-2 on Salty. Now there was a recent 15-game stretch for Nick, as Papelbon left one in a good spot there. Salty missed it. There was one 15-game stretch last month for Nick when he went 4 for 53.
Ouch.
But he is busting out in a big way. Called strike 3. Papelbon rings up Saltalamacchia, but Lamb hits his 4th of the year. And as we go to the home half of the ninth, the Diamondbacks have a 6-0 lead. During his Hall of Fame week. Tomorrow, part 3, as Randy plays in the Hall of Fame golf tournament. Plus, hear what the other Hall of Famers say about facing the big unit. Randy Johnson, Road to Cooperstown, presented by Papa John's, tomorrow at 3:30, only on Fox Sports Arizona. Bottom 9 here in Washington, D.C. The Diamondbacks have homered 4 times. They lead it 6-0. And Daniel Hudson is on to close this thing out. We saw Huddy work Friday in Houston. He pitched 2 innings, 33 pitches, 20 strikes, 2 scoreless innings with 2 strikeouts. And so far, Diamondbacks pitchers have given up only 3 hits, all of them singles. Zach Godley was outstanding for 6 innings. Addison Reed, 2 perfect innings, and now Hudson will face Harper to open up the 9th. Harper tonight 1 for 3. He has singled and hit into a double play. Gives this one a lift out to short right field. Ender Inciarte way up there, 1 out. I was going to say, Bob, we've seen lots of offense tonight, all of it from the Diamondbacks, but our MVP mano a mano has left a little be desired here.
It hasn't quite materialized the way we had hoped. Goldie and Harper combined 1 for 8 in the ball game. That was a Bryce Harper single, and then Bryce counterbalanced that, hitting into a double play. So 8 plate appearances, 8 outs for the 2 big boys tonight.
Ryan Zimmerman has struck out twice and walked 0 for 2. 97 from Huddy. He's ahead 0-1. Zimmerman 5 for 25 now with a homer in 7 games since he came off the DL. Plantar fasciitis had kept him out since the first week of June. He gives this one a ride, and that ball is way out of here. Ryan Zimmerman, that's his 7th, and it's 6-1.
Your job as a reliever with a 5-0 lead in the 9th is to come in and throw strikes, and occasionally the big boys are going to tee you up. They know you're just trying to jump ahead in the count, throw fastballs over the plate, and that time Ryan Zimmerman absolutely smashed one to left field.
His 2nd homer in 7 games. Here's Clint Robinson. He shoots one the other way. Peralta has to play it near the line. Robinson down 6-1 will settle for the 1-out single. Brings up Ian Desmond. Desmond 0 for 3.
Good fading change up there. Came back to that outer third of the plate.
That one stays fair. And Jake Lamb has no play. He can't make the bare hand pickup. And the Nationals have 2 on with 1 out in the 9th. That's 3 straight hits for Washington.
Little swinging bunt right down that third baseline. Jake Lamb tries to make the bare-handed play, just can't grab it cleanly. He'll go with an infield single for Ian Desmond and bring Wilson Ramos to the plate with a couple of teammates on base. Ramos with 9 home runs on the season for the Nats, but that's a little deceiving. 2 of those home runs came against Tampa Bay infielders in a blowout game.
Well, he is 0 for 3 tonight, Wilson Ramos, and 5 for his last 58 at the plate. On the ground, up the middle and into center. They're going to wave Robinson. He will score, and it's 6-2. 4 straight hits for Washington. Diamondback bullpen is busy. Looks like Brad Ziegler throwing down there. Indeed it is.
Pretty apparent that the Nationals are attacking early against Daniel Hudson. So far this inning, he's thrown 1 pitch, 2 pitches, 1 pitch, 2 pitches, and 1 pitch to the hitters he's faced. I mentioned it just a moment ago. You bring a relief pitcher into a ball game, you've got a big, comfortable lead. You just want to finish it out, get 3 quick outs, throw strikes. Don't walk anybody. That's the last thing a pitching coach will tell a guy with a big lead in the ninth. Don't walk anybody. Don't give him a chance for a big inning. And so you throw the ball over the strike zone. The other team very aggressively chasing those pitches, and suddenly you find yourself in a jam.
Here's Michael Taylor, pitcher spot behind him, and Jason Worth is in the on-deck circle. Desmond is the runner at second, and Ramos at first. 1 out. Taylor 1 for 3, a single in the 5th. Base hit. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Desmond scores. Ramos is being waved home, and he will score. It's a 6-4 ball game, and the Nationals will get the tying run to the plate with 1 out in the 9th. 5 straight hits against Daniel Hudson.
Middle of the plate once again, just able to keep that fair down the third baseline. David Peralta had some issues out there in the corner, grabbing that ball, getting it back in. That allowed Ramos to come all the way around from first and score on the play.
Chip Hale has seen enough. He needs to go get his closer. 2 more big outs still to get here. Tying run at the plate, 1 down. Brad Ziegler coming in. Back in a moment. It's a key game for both teams. Then at 4, it's the Cardinals taking on the Brewers in a game you can see only on Fox Sports 1. Coverage begins at 12:30 only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. This 9th inning started with a 1-pitch out to Bryce Harper by Daniel Hudson. The Nationals have responded with 5 straight hits and 4 runs. It's a 6-4 ball game. Still only 1 out. Tying run at the plate. It's Jason Worth. who will hit for the pitcher. Brad Ziegler is on for the Diamondbacks. Taylor is the runner at second. Worth and Ziegler with one down. Strike one. Jason Worth, 205, 2 homers. He has played in only 33 games all year. Just back from injury for the Nationals, activated last Tuesday, and since he's been back, he's gone 4 for 21. Worth slogged through games in April and May with a sore right shoulder after an operation this winter. Then on May 15th, he was hit by a pitch. 2 small fractures and a nasty bone bruise in his left wrist. He missed more than 60 games, was out about 3 months. 2-1. A little tapper back to Ziegler. Brad is on it. Double clutch coming out of the glove and a low throw, but Goldie has it. And that's the second out. Taylor stays put at second.
Another swinging bunt to that left side of the infield. Ziegler gets off the mound in good shape. Looked like it was going to be an easy play, and then he couldn't find the handle on the ball initially. Fires low to Goldie just in time for the out at first base.
So with 2 down now, it'll be Yunel Escobar, the leadoff man. When Jake Lamb hit that homer in the 9th, we thought, well, that's terrific. It's nice for Jake. But it's proved to be a very big tack-on run here. Tying run at the plate, 2 down. Escobar 1 for 4, a single in the 4th. He homered last night in New York. That was not a half-hearted swing.
No, I was just thinking, it's a little bit like Carlos Gomez. He doesn't get cheated.
And he is up there swinging, as you can see here, right away.
He wasn't feeling it in that 3rd at bat when he saw 7 pitches. That's not like him.
He wound up striking out looking at that at bat. Brad's ahead 0-2. Fly ball left field. Peralta near the line in the corner, and he's got it, and the Diamondbacks hang on and win it 6-4. That's their 5th win on this road trip, and they hand the Nationals their 4th straight loss. Zach Godley was terrific. The Diamondbacks with a whole lot of firepower here. They hit 4 homers.
I think most importantly, Chip Hale has to be pleased with the energy and the effort he saw out there on the field tonight. Clean ball game, no errors. Pitching was really good, other than Daniel Hudson mysteriously struggling after getting the first out here in the 9th. But all's well that ends well.
And the D-backs improved to 51 and 53 on the year. They snapped that modest 2-game losing skid, and they win it 6-4. Back with much more from Washington, D.C. after this.